Hello, friends. Welcome to the 9th part of the PrestaShop Module Development tutorial. In the previous tutorial, we have seen how to create a front controller, how to assign the template to it and how to access that controller in the front office. In this tutorial, we will go further. Today, we will discuss the database and how can we work with the database in the PrestaShop. In the previous tutorial, we did not pass any variable to the template and did not display any data to the front. Today we are going to do the same. We will fetch some records from the database and we will display it in the front. So now we have the roadmap for today's task. Very first we will take a variable to check how many products we have in the shop. We will write the SQL query for that, but for now, I assign 0 to it to avoid any error while coding. The second thing is what are the categories in our PrestaShop. It will be array kind of variable. The third variable will be nothing but the name of the shop. There can be a need to display the name of the shop. In that case you can access it. It will be a string value. You can see I have taken one integer, one array, and one string variable so we can execute queries based on the variable type. Let's start with the product counting. To work with the database, you need to use DB class. Use the static method getInstance of DB class. This method will return the object of the database class and you can execute the query on it. See, here we need only one value, which is the counting of the products in the shop. To access a single value from query result, we can use the getValue method of the DB class. This value will return only a single cell value which will be stored in the NB products variable. Let me write the query to get the total number of the product. Keep in mind, in the PrestaShop, the products are stored in the product table and the PS underscore can be any prefix, so let's remove it and use the constant defined in the PrestaShop for the table name prefix. Because it is not necessary each time there is PS underscore, it can be anything. Sometimes it can be none. Now, in this variable, we should have the total number of the products. So let's display it in the template of the front controller task.tpl. Here let's write the alt tag for the proper alignment and organization. Let's save both the files and check the front page of the task controller. If everything is fine, then we should have the output. See, I have again made a mistake in the variable. Let me just copy and paste it to avoid the mistake again. Now you can see, we have a total of 19 products in our shop. You can display it in well format for the better visibility. Let's discuss the categories meanwhile. In the categories variable, we need to have an array of all the available categories in the shop. So in this case, out database query should fetch the multiple records, unlike the previous query. In this case, we will use the execute_s method of the DB class. This function will return the array of rows of table records. It can be one or more based on your query. Let's write the SQL query to fetch all the categories from the categories language table, and do not forget follow the stand of the PrestaShop. Also remember one thing, language table stores data for all languages, means if your shop has 4 categories and 3 languages, then you will have 12 records in your database. So to fetch only unique categories data, use language ID parameter in your SQL query. In this context object, you can find all the details of your shop, language, logged in customer, and many more. You can access whatever you need. To avoid any error, just use typecasting. Now our categories variable will be an array variable. So let's print it in the template file in a nested ul tag. To treat the array variable in the smart if, we will use the for each loop. And we can use the name attribute of the category, which comes from the database, to display it on the screen. Let's save it to refresh the browser page. Unlike previous time, if we don't have any mistake, then we should have the category list. And here we go. You can compare the list of the categories with the list of the categories in the back office. You can see we have 19 products, which you can see here. Now think a scenario where you don't want any records, but you want to execute a DML query like insert or update. In this case, you need to use only execute method of the DB class. In this tutorial, we are not going to see any example if insert query, but I want to inform you. In the execute method you can pass any query, even it can be select query, but the execute method returns only Boolean true or false. If the query is successful, then it will be true, else false. But if you are working with a standard way, then use this function for insert and update or any data definition language query. But when we need any values, then we need to use functions like getValue, execute_s and getRow only, then we can have the result in the desired format. One more thing, we need the name of the shop. There is a table in the PrestaShop which is configuration table. This table store all the singleton setting of the shop. Means our shop name is stored in this table. And to manage this table we have the same class configuration. If you want to fetch any value from the table, then use the get method, and it is a static function. You need to pass just the key to the data. I really don't remember the key for the shop name, so let's just go to the database, find it and copy it. This, PS_shop_name is our key to the shop name. Let's just copy it and use it. We don't need to think what is going on with this function will fetch the value for you. So let's display it in the front office. Let's save these both files. And reload the page. The name of our shop is Module and we can see it here. One more thing, we have fetched the single value, we have fetched multiple rows, but sometimes we need to fetch not single value or multiple rows but a single row. Let's take an example of manufacturer, and the function to get single row is the getRow. For better practice, we will use the standard things always. Now, in the manufacturer variable, we will have a single row. We don't need to treat it as an array of rows. It is just a single row. You can use the index direct with the manufacturer variable. Sorry, once again I forgot to save the file, that is why we have this error. You can see Studio Design, that is the manufacturer in our shop. You can go the back office and check. We have two manufacturers, but we got only once because we used the getRow function. Now you know almost everything about the queries. You know how to fetch single value, single record, and multiple rows. If you have any question about the PrestaShop module development, then you can ask it in the comment section. If you like this series, then do subscribe to this channel and share it with your friends who are willing to learn the PrestaShop. Thank you.